Should be
Yeah.
going up.
Are we live?
Right. I'm hold on, it's telling me that it's preparing. Meeting is now streaming.
Yeah, mine instantly says now streaming live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Proverbial Masterminds. I'm Dr. Sherry, and this is my beautiful friend, Erin Harrigan.
Hello, everybody. I'm excited because YouTube is working with us today, and we finally have the channel right. So
or maybe
we're streaming.
we are working with YouTube.
Well, maybe it's us. Right?
Maybe it was a user error.
It might have been. I don't even know, but it's working. It's working.
Yay!
So I'm coming to you live from Sherry. Did you paint your wall? No, it was that color.
It's been painted.
Okay, I thought so. I don't know why I had green in mine, but maybe because this is green. I'm green. Yeah. So I'm coming to you all live from Western Maryland, Deep Creek Lake. We just came off the slopes. We're taking a lunch break.
Off the slopes. You sound so fancy.
Yeah, not really.
Are you a skier?
Well, I mean, I ski. I feel like that's different than being a skier, because I feel like if I'm a skier, like I'm really swishing down the black diamonds, which is not happening.
Like doing your slalom, as it were.
Right. But I'm super proud of my girls because they've never skied before, and they're 23 and 21, and they're doing great.
That's awesome. So everybody's doing it. So are you skiing every day while you're there?
So we have skied 3 days, and tomorrow will be day 4, and then we come home on Sunday. So
wow. That's super fun. And today you have a special day happening, don't you?
It is a special day. So it is our 27th wedding anniversary. And
I feel like we need fireworks.
We haven't figured out the special effects yet. So yes, it's 27. We've been together 30 years. It'll be 30 years in April.
Oh my goodness.
And we rerouted. So, it's so interesting that we're talking about, here we are in Proverbs 3 and wisdom and not trusting our own understanding and submitting our ways, etc. Because we were supposed to be in Punta Cana this week.
Okay.
And we moved it because of course, 2020. So we rerouted to where we could drive and where we could be outside and we're all safe and sound. So anyway, so that's it. So this
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Welcome.
This week, our title is, I'm not going to sing it, Living on a Prayer.
Why
not? Because
that's what makes this show fantastic.
You know what I had to think about? So earlier today, so if you guys don't know, Sherry and I, of course, are in touch, and we're like, what are we talking about on Friday? Because, it's very usually off the cuff. And she said, I think we should call this Living on a Prayer. And I was like, in my head, I had to be like, living on a prayer, take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. I couldn't remember the take my hand part.
Right.
But if you watch the trailer, you've seen me do some stuff. I don't even know.
I know. The trailer is super fun, but
super fun.
I think that is like such my word. Super fun. I'm like super everything. I noticed that I say it a lot, like on my podcast. I'm super excited, but I am.
I know.
Like it's not played out. Like I am.
It just comes to you. You just say it. Right. Awesome is my word. I say that a lot. Clearly an 80s kid.
Well, right. An 80s kid. I'm glad that you don't have 80s hair anymore, though.
Oh, trust me.
Did you have 80s hair?
Oh, I had such 80s hair.
Yeah.
Big, poofy hair.
So I didn't. Well, I did. But it was more like 90s hair. Early 90s hair, late 80s, early 90s hair is like when I was like a teenager and caring about those things.
Definitely had big hair.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, so hey, we're on 313, right?
Yes, we are. We are. And
Proverbs
there's so much
313.
So much packed in this.
Oh my goodness.
I think last week, Sherry, you said, sort of Proverbs 1 is like, here's what this is going to be about, right? And Proverbs 2 is telling you sort of some of the practicality. And now we're getting into this, like, how are we applying it and how are we blessed by applying it?
Yeah.
And how are we getting ourselves out of the way in order to accept the wisdom? So I'm so curious what you've got, because you said this living on a prayer, and I'm go ahead, dig in.
Well, okay. So this verse, Proverbs 3:13 is where we land today. We're doing a verse a day for those of you that have never joined us on the show before. We started on November 1st with Proverbs 1:1. And so, yeah, I mean, like Proverbs 1 goes into like, here's what it is, but then it immediately dives into what it is not and like what to be careful of, right?
Yep.
And then 2 kind of continues along those lines. And then 3 is more like you said, here's all the benefits. Like it's repetition and benefits. Like that's what I'm hearing so far in the third book. Not so many admonitions about the dangers that lurk.
Right.
But so much as focus on wisdom, focus on wisdom, focus on wisdom, focus on wisdom. Here's what you get. Here's what you get. Here's what you get. Here's what you get. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so this morning I was reading Proverbs 3:13. And for those of you that don't have a Bible in front of you, you can, you're without excuse. Go look it up on your phone. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Get the Bible app.
I'll read it for you.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
and I'm reading from my old school New King James Version because when it comes to the Proverbs, I really like the old school. I feel like it's the most direct for me to be able to understand. So Proverbs 3:13 says, happy is the man or woman. Okay. Let me just, sometimes I know I'm derailing myself here, but sometimes people like get all up in arms over a word and then refuse to hear the message. So if you're a woman, this message is for you too. Don't get all up in arms just because it says man. This was written whenever it was written. Okay. Happy is the man or woman who finds wisdom, and the man who gains, or woman who gains understanding. So I looked up the word happy because, like, I mean, you don't get much like more straightforward than that, like happy. But I learned something.
Tell us.
Well, I'm going to. So I learned something when I looked up the word. The word is Esher. That's the Hebrew word. Esher, and it's used, it means happy. It's very direct. It means happy, but it's used as an interjection or an exclamation, like an aha, they're happy. Like, oh, I just realized something, like eureka, aha, and I thought like that was the coolest thing to me, because as I have started to make this practice of seeking God's wisdom, it is that verse describes exactly what happens. And I'm not going to lie and say every day, but it's almost every day. It describes what happens every day when I'm seeking God's wisdom and I'm digging into the scriptures and I'm looking at Proverbs, and then I'm going and reading some stuff in the Old Testament. And then that leads me down a rabbit hole to look at some stuff in the New Testament. And almost every morning I am having that, oh, happy day experience.
Right.
And what's cool about that, what is
I love that.
So, oh my goodness, I just get like chills thinking about it, because so many times, like just even last night as I was going to bed and this morning as I woke up, I was like, all right, what am I going to focus on today? Da, 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 da. And then I was like, wait a second, Sherry, first you got to seek. That's your first thing that you have to do. Go seek wisdom. And so anyway, I get wrapped up in, do I have anything? Like, do I have anything to give today? Because probably very much like you, Erin, like when we do our Facebook Lives and things like that, I know that we do them every day, but sometimes it's like, okay, Lord, literally, I'm living on a prayer because I don't know what I'm going to say today.
Yes.
Right? I don't know if I have anything of value to offer. I'm like, in fact, before I even had this, oh, happy day, aha experience this morning, I was reading in the Old Testament about the prophet Elisha, not Elijah, but Elisha, and how Elisha went to the widow's home and she said, I have this, like
the oil.
I have oil. And she's like, please help me because I have my son, my husband's dead, and we owe these people so much money.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, what do you have of value? And she's like, well, I have a little bit of oil. And he's like, okay, go and collect every vessel, basically every
Right.
vessel in the village. Right. And he's like, fill it. And so this morning, anyway, long story short, you guys can look that up. It's in Second Kings. Let me give you the reference real quick. Second Kings, 4. Yeah. Second Kings 4. So basically, she fills all the vessels with this oil that she just had just a little bit yet left. But that's what she had that was of value. And basically, God's like, you use this. I'm going to take it. I'm going to multiply it that not only can you pay your debts and have that like off of your conscience, but then you have enough to live off of. And so it's like the loaves and fishes story, right? Like
yes,
all of this,
all the vessels.
Every single until there was no vessel left.
Yes.
And so she sold it. So anyway, let's get real here for a second. So sometimes, like I said before, sometimes I'm like, scripture discourages me, and not discourages me like from reading it, but like my scripture doesn't discourage me. My little lies that I believe from time to time discourage me, and they get in there and they're like, well, see, what do I have of value? So like this morning, before I really got into seeking, I'm like, what do I have of value? Like, I want to be like the widow. I want to have a little bit of something. And I know I trust you. You're going to multiply it. What do I have of value? And I know that if anybody is watching this, and Aaron, you're listening to this, and you know me, but if people who are watching this know me, I bet you very few people realize that I wake up and think, what do I have to give to?
100%. I totally agree.
It is like every day.
Right.
But every day living on a prayer. Go ahead.
Well, and the beauty of that is like, that's one of the reasons that I started. So Sherry and I were connected by our friend, Jessie Kretzer. Love you, Jessie. That's one of the reasons that I started following you and listening to your podcast, because I know authentic is an overused word, but you were just so freaking authentic. Like, you were just you.
Yeah.
And I think in a world where we're constantly looking left and right, which of course the Bible tells us not to do, it's very easy to get caught up in like, what do I have of value today? Right. So, but one of the reasons that I love doing this with you and I love following you is that, like, no, I think most people probably, even if they've followed you for a long time, they never think that you wake up like, oh, what do I have of value today? But yet you do, because we all do. We've talked about that before, like King David, right? The man after God's own heart, still screwed up.
Right.
Yeah. And what's coming up for me as we're talking about that is then that piece that's like, you're not feeling this like, oh, happy day because God gave me something of value. You're like, oh, happy day because he's going to use whatever I have. And he's empowered me.
Yeah. And he's going to multiply it.
And that literally is, and that literally is living on a prayer. Yeah. No disrespect to Bon Jovi. Because that's how we're supposed to live, you guys. Like, that is how we're supposed to live, in prayer. And I don't know about you, but not that I drive a lot of places right now, but I'm usually like in the car just praying. Like, and that's what keeps me in those moments where I could very quickly go in the wrong direction in my head. I'm like, nope, I'm not going there. Not going there.
Yeah.
And it's being in the prayer that makes you do it.
Well, and I think so when we, absolutely. And I think prayer is so simple compared to what we make it. So like, like the Lord's Prayer, the Lord's Prayer is not like a prayer to pray so much as like an outline of how to pray.
Yeah.
Right. So like it starts off, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So praying is, wow, Lord, thank you for that beautiful sunrise.
Yes.
It's right. Like, it's recognizing who he is. It's recognizing the power that he has. It's submitting to that. So just starting there, prayer is when you say, okay, Lord, I want to talk to you. Okay, God, even if you don't know him as Lord, God, I want to talk to you. I want to hear from you. I want to open up your scriptures and read. That is prayer, because prayer is a recognition of who he is and coming into conversation. That is all prayer is. It doesn't have to be. I mean, I think there are certainly times that we're called to more intensive, like focused prayer, right? But prayer, like when is it in First Timothy talks about pray without ceasing? Is it First Timothy? I don't know.
Thessalonians.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, not theologians, my friends. But when you do that, when praying without ceasing is literally just the acknowledgement and
that's it.
And the acknowledgement of who he is. And I love that song by since we're talking about songs, Living on a Prayer, what's that song where he's like, these are the two prayers I pray, help me and thank you. Do you know what song I'm talking about?
No, I do not know what that song.
Help me and or thank you and help me, something like that. Like basically, these are the two types of prayers. Like, thank you for this and help me with this.
Right.
So if you're acknowledging who he is and you're going, I come to you for thanks and I come to you for help, or I come to you with thanks, I offer thanks and I come to you to receive help, that is prayer. So
absolutely,
living on a prayer is just acknowledging, like we said last time, remember, acknowledging causatively, recognizing causatively God's authority and sovereignty, right?
Yes.
That was from, hang on. That was from, and lead not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, right?
Exactly.
So, back to your verse. But anyway, so living on a prayer, literally that is my like day in, day out. But this morning, here's what's so beautiful is that when I feel like I don't have anything and I come to the Lord for help saying I don't have anything, I don't believe I have nothing. I say, Lord, this is how I feel. Right? Let me give that to you to fix that. I don't just say, well, I don't have anything to give and that's how I feel and this is my life and I don't have anything to offer today, so I'm going to go outside and eat worms. Like that's not it's like a song my mom used to sing when we were kids. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You know that
I know
song?
what you're talking about. Yeah. Yes.
So, man, we're like on a lot of songs.
Nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. I guess I'm going to go outside. Eat worms.
Yeah.
Where do we come up with this?
I don't know. Anyway, but so there's the difference. So if somebody's like struggling today, like prayer is simply going, okay, this is how I feel. Right. And I know God has something to say about that and we'll do something for that. So then this morning I went in and I'm reading the Proverbs and I'm like, okay, that feeling was still there. That thought was still there. And then I'm like, okay, let me go dig in. What does that happy mean? Oh, it's, happy day. Aha, eureka. Oh, this instant revelation, right? And you know what happened this morning? That doesn't happen every single morning, but God gave me such clarity because part of the issue of why I woke up that way, Erin, and I know I'm talking up a storm today.
It's all good,
but it's almost done. And then you
do it.
Is because I have felt so aimless in the last, I don't know, 2 weeks. I have just felt aimless, like, and that led to the, I don't have anything of value to offer. Like, okay, well, I could do this, but I don't know, is that really what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, I need clarity, I need, direction, I need wisdom, right? Like, this is why I'm coming to you every day. Like, what are you doing here?
Right.
Can you show me something?
Yes.
And a lot of what he's shown me since the beginning of this walk has been about who he is. It hasn't been about what my clarity of direction is for me.
No, because it's him saying, like, this is who I am. Come to me for wisdom. Like, Sherry,
let me be your portion first. Then we'll get to your stuff later.
That's it. Which, by the way, going back to what you're talking about, the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread. That daily we are to come to him and ask for wisdom. Like, it's not us reading this and then we say, okay, I got it, I'm going, which we tend to do in every other thing in life, right? It's a daily practice. And even when we're in the word daily, we can still feel that way because what do I have to offer?
Yeah.
What do I have to bring? What do I have to talk about? You notice the I, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And God's like, this is not about you.
This is not about you.
I'm going to give you something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So he did give
I also want to say, so sometimes, oh, go ahead.
No, we've got a little bit of a delay now.
You go.
We've got a big delay.
Is it better?
I don't know. Well, so what happened is you froze a couple of times.
Okay. Okay. Is it better now?
Okay. I think so.
I feel like I'm still frozen. Can you see me moving?
I can see you moving. Can you hear me in real time now?
Okay. Hopefully I can hear you in real time. Go.
Okay. I don't remember what I was talking about.
No, what he gave you.
Oh, what he gave me. Yeah. Okay. So this morning with my oh happy day, my happy is the woman who finds wisdom. I found it because God gave it to me this morning because he poured it out of his storehouses for me. So he's like, Sherry, stop. I want you, this isn't necessarily for anybody else, but this was for me. I want you to stop thinking about doing this task, this task, this task, this task in all of these different areas, the podcast, your nonprofit, your writing, your Facebook lives, your proverbial masterminds. But I want you to stop thinking about those little tasks. And instead, what are the 6 things that you want? What are not even 6? What are the things that you need to spend your time in to do so that you don't feel aimless, so that you feel rooted, so that you feel grounded, so that you feel like wisdom is leading you? And so I just sat down and made a list, and it came very, very quickly. So I want to share it with you really quick. So this is the list, and it has nothing to do, like, we're still in the beginning of January. People are still setting goals and things like that. It has nothing to do with goals, with achieving, with tasks, with checking things off of checklists. It has everything to do with this morning, God gave me my compass. And he gave me my compass. He gave me my compass, and that compass is my guide, so that everything I do, if I hold that compass up next to it, and it's everything I do, whatever it is pointing to one of those compass points, then I'm right where I need to be, and I'm not aimless. Like, I was aimless. That's how I felt. And this morning, God gave me a compass, like huge. Talk about happy is the woman who finds wisdom. Right. I found this compass. God gave me this compass this morning. So anyway, my 6 things. I have 6 points. Seek. So am I seeking? Am I seeking wisdom? Learn. Am I learning from other people? So not just myself, but other people. Am I reading? Am I engaging in, tons of free webinars and stuff like that that's going on right now? 3, this is my word, ideaing. Like, am I, because I love to make ideas. Am I ideaing based off of what I've sought, based off of what I've learned? And then my ideas, then number 4 is, am I serving with that? How am I serving with that? So this is an example of serving. It's coming on and sharing what I've sought, what I've learned, and what I've ideated in my head. And now I'm serving with that. So that's number 4. And then number 5 is steward. So with my body, with my possessions, with anything, like I have been exercising every day for the last 11 days. I didn't even know I was stewarding, right? But that goes back to when I was like, I need to give the first fruits of my day and blah, blah, blah.
That's right. That's right.
And then the last one is play. Like, go play with my dogs, go play Candy Crush, go play whatever. So as long as what I'm doing, it gives me a compass to say, you don't have to do this specific thing today, but right now, is this thing, does it fit into one of those 6 compass points? And if it does, then great. And that has just brought me so much exclamation, happiness.
Oh, I love that. I love that it's so powerful because this is the time that everybody in the world is talking about the goal setting and the planning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And my word for last year, I do my one word every year, was flow, because I wanted everything to flow together. I never wanted it. I wanted to be in the flow of God's will.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really hard sometimes for achievers and people of business, et cetera, and women of faith to think about it from that perspective. That is your compass.
Yeah.
And as long as what you're doing is fitting in there, guess what?
Yeah.
It's all going to happen. Like it's all right. And I know this is sort of blasphemy, but instead of thinking about goals, like this is what you talked about earlier today, instead of thinking about goals from a goal setting perspective, what is that compass?
Yeah. What is the thing guiding you? I mean, because here's the thing, if that is my compass and I focus on that, then my compass also draws my attention to things that I need to do that I might not have thought of had I been sticking so dogmatically to my goal.
Right. And to the to-do list.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So it's interesting because I'm working with a coach that has been working on a strategic plan for me. And I got it last night and I was like, this is the plan. Like, this isn't quite what I was thinking it was going to be. I'm already doing that.
Right.
But as I'm talking through this with you and thinking about it, it's not about the things that are on the
You're starting to break up again, Erin.
Plan. It's about, I know, I don't know what's going on.
It's okay. It's okay.
Wi-Fi.
Keep going.
Where the compass is pointing me for this year and what this year is supposed to be about in honoring and serving him. And which takes me to the Proverbs in the English Standard Version. The word, instead of happy, it says blessed is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gets understanding. So it's like, oh, happy day. And guess what? You're blessed. But see, we want to say like hashtag blessed about like our stuff and our accomplishments. And right. Amen. And yet we are blessed in seeking that wisdom every day and learning from that wisdom every day. Oof, yes.
That is it's just so incredible because so my word for 2021, and this is the first year that I've ever done a word, and it's a doozy, it's surrender. So, but in this gift, the blessing that he gave me of these compass points this morning, of that wisdom, he gave me a pathway to surrender anxiety over not doing.
Yes.
To not feel like, well, what else did I do today that was good? What did I do today?
How was I productive?
Yeah.
Sherry, I want to take us back for a second because some of our listeners, watchers, whatever. When you say that God gave this to you, I think that sometimes we get caught up in I didn't hear this big booming voice on high, which I don't know about anybody else, but I always think if God had a big booming voice, it would definitely be Morgan Freeman's.
What's the other, James Earl Jones?
I know, but see, then that reminds me of Darth Vader. And then I'm like, I don't know about that. So Sherry, when you say that he gave this to you, like, can you paint the picture for us of like, what did that feel like? Or how did you know that or whatever?
I didn't feel anything. I just had an idea. I just had an idea.
The idea that came up and you just started.
And I just, and I'm just like, okay. And so here, okay. And I have a practice. So I think sometimes God gives you stuff like ideas or wisdom or whatever it is. Sometimes he does it like in like really like crazy ways, right? Like big blinding light ways, right? But most of the time, like with the prophet Elijah, when he went and hid in the cave, the big wind came and God wasn't in the wind. The big earthquake came and God wasn't in the earthquake. The big fire came and God wasn't in the fire. It was a still small voice. So I didn't really feel anything. I didn't hear God say anything to me audibly. I've never heard God speak to me audibly, by the way. But here's how I say that God speaks to me is if I have an idea and I am in and I am in scripture, I am seeking wisdom. I am seeking his wisdom and not man's wisdom. And I can immediately say, oh, wow, that's huge. That's a blessing. That's a gift. And I know in that instant that it came from the Lord. I know that it's a gift. I know that it's a blessing straight from the Lord. Right. And so, but my practice too, Erin, is that since November 1st, when we started this wisdom walk, I've filled half of this journal up. All of these pages are filled with me sitting down and just writing down. And sometimes I don't have a blinding revelation like that, but I just write down, okay, okay, I'm supposed to incline my ear. Okay, that's good. How can I incline my ear today? Not everything is this amazing, spiritual epiphany, aha, oh, happy day moment. But sometimes you do have them. But I think it's because you make a practice of knowing who God is, of being in prayer, living on a prayer, being in prayer with him in that relationship so that you learn to hear when you have an idea that it's from him or it's not.
Yes, 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 yes.
That's it.
That's it. I thank you. No, I think it's so helpful because I think that some people feel like, when am I going to hear from him? And it's like, well, as you're getting to know him, he's going to reveal certain things to you. And I know it's like
when you need it, right?
What you need when you need it. I know it's super cliche as we're kind of wrapping up, but literally in the Bon Jovi song, it says, "Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear." Right? God is saying
that. I mean, good.
Listen, this is why we're not theologians, right? Because I'm taking like
we're 80s
Bon Jovi pop rock and mashing it up with Proverbs. Right. But it's true, right? Like, take his hand, take his wisdom, seek that.
You will make
it. Seek that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're instructed to do. And we will make it. Whatever, but we don't get to define what making it means. But in the end, as my friend Lisa always says, in the end, God wins.
Yeah.
Period. Like at the end of Revelation, God wins.
Right.
And that's totally it. Like, you're going to make it. But I love that you reinforce that it's the daily practice.
Yeah.
And that you talked earlier about what does prayer really have to look like? Because I think we overcomplicate it.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Thank you, my friend. Good. This was phenomenal.
We knew the Holy Spirit would give it to us.
I know.
Sometimes we know what we're going to talk about and sometimes we don't, everybody. So just so you know that.
But we're still living on a prayer every single time.
We are. I feel like we need to have the song as an outro, but then they'll probably shut us down because we don't have rights to the song.
Because we don't have rights to it. We should stop quoting it now. All right, my friends. Hey, join us back here next Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode of The Proverbial Minds, where we are doing what, Erin? We're minding the master's wisdom.
Yes, and invite your friends because it's always more fun with